Hi, Luli and Annie. How are you, girls? I'm gonna share my screen. Um, sorry, Alana wants to see you guys. Alana, you wanna say hi? Come here. You wanna say hi? Okay. Sorry, girls. Just wanted to show you her medicine. She's okay though. Okay, but I'm just in charge with her for a moment while I give you your video. So sorry for that, but that's just being a real teacher. Okay, so the lesson of today, it's called lesson 5, results of forces, meaning we have been studying about all of the different changes that erosion and weathering and different landforms have in the earth. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that a little bit, like what happens thanks to weathering, what happens thanks to erosion, what's the effect. Okay, so for starters, natural forces on the surface of the earth change all of the earth features, meaning all of the earth characteristics, and also forces within the earth. That's like what happens with earthquake. There's a lot of pressure, and that pressure causes earthquake, and earthquakes causes changes. It changes the earth. Okay, so some forces that change the earth help develop landforms, like what happens with mountains or volcanoes. Some forces build something up, and other forces tear something down, meaning that they break them. Okay, so you have weathering. Weathering in Spanish means desgaste. Okay, weathering is a force that wears away landforms. Landforms, remember, valleys and mountains, for example, plains. Okay, so weathering, it's a force that using wind and water and sun, it wears away landforms, las gasta. This process breaks landforms into smaller units. The heat, the cold, the wind cause mountain rocks to break down. Rain soaks into clay and causes landslide, huaicos. Slowly, mountains wear away, getting smaller inch by inch during thousands of years. This is a slow process, okay? But then you have erosion. Don't confuse weathering with erosion, okay? Weathering, it's when things start getting like smaller year by year thanks to wind, thanks to water. But erosion means when all of these loose soil or materials get carried from one place to the other thanks to wind and thanks to water. It's like weathering makes a mess, but erosion moves the mess from one place to the other. Okay, so erosion carries on the tearing down process. It moves the materials. Materials from higher landforms are eroded away. Channels, like what we're talking about, channels of water are cut into the ground. And erosion also builds because since it moves sand and soil from one place to the other, it deposits all of that soil somewhere else, like what happens with deltas from rivers, okay? And what are the results of all of these? The results are that the earth is always changing because you have landforms changing because of glaciers that they're leaving their marks. You have hills forms, you have ponds form, plants that crack open rocks and break them, but also plants help keep the soil in place and avoid erosion that I'm going to talk in a moment, okay? Also people, we are always changing the landform. We're cutting hills to make roads, we're building buildings, or dams, which is where you store water in big places. Represas, okay? That would be in Spanish, represas. Some scientists believe that the mountains that we have right now were the result of being in deep water a long time ago, like what happened during the flood. Many deposits were formed, sediments were deposited, and soon after the pressure of the earth helped form the mountains because of the folding process. Remember that because of the pressure of the earth, the layers of rock would form like these little hills, okay? Other scientists don't believe that. They think that landforms were formed during thousands and thousands of years. Okay? One moment, girls. Alanita, please wait, okay? You can play with your money, sweetie. Okay. And then you have volcanoes. Remember that volcanoes are formed because you have magma going out to the surface and then building a little cone. And each time magma goes up, that cones get bigger and bigger and bigger until it forms a mountain if all of the lava cools down, or a volcano if it's still active, okay? So you can see there are a lot of natural forces in place. Some build landforms, like what happens with volcanoes, and then others destroy them. What happens with earthquakes, terremotos, because they destroy not only houses, they can also destroy landforms, like a hill can break, a road can break. Okay, so and you have short-term changes and then big changes like flooding or earthquake that have bigger results. Okay, and then we have been talking about erosion a little bit. Erosión in Spanish, okay? And erosion means when we lose the quality of the soil because the really good soil that's on top of the ground gets carried away by water or by wind, okay? And I have some pictures here of how does a eroded soil looks like. You see that it has all of these cracks, it looks not healthy, you see that not a lot of plants are growing there, okay? But then, we as people can prevent erosion by doing the right thing, but not tilling. Tilling means arar. In Spanish, it's when you use, when you do these lines in the ground, like what you see in the movies in farms, and they do that so you can work the ground, but now we know that it's not a healthy practice because it helps erode the soil. Or when you cut all of the trees, that helps erosion, unfortunately, because you don't have much trees or roots to hold the soil in place. When rain comes, it takes away all of the soil, okay? So I put a picture here of something that some farmers are doing now, that it's they cover the soil with a covering, it can be wood chips, it can be grass clippings, and that way it's a cheap way to protect the soil and better the quality. And why do we want better quality soil? We want better quality soil because it affects what we eat. Because now scientists know that if a soil is eroded, we get less nutrients with our vegetables and fruits. Okay, so how all of these changes affect us? Okay, changing landforms affects us in two different ways. It can be good because if we need to change a landform, we can make buildings, we can make dams, we can make roads, and that's good for us because we can get from one place to the other. If we change landforms, we can make a road, we can have somewhere to live, okay? That's important because you need somewhere to live. You need a road so you can go in your car from one place to the other. But also it can be really bad because if we destroy landforms, like we destroy a hill or a valley, or we don't take good care of the soil and we have erosion, it means that animals lose their habitats, and then it means that we have poor soil quality, and that affects our food and then affects our health. Okay, that will be it, girls. I'm gonna stop sharing. Let me know if you have questions.